Okay, we are in Volume 7 of the Bible story by Arthur S Maxwell. My set, this is the front of it, with a toddler, Jesus, and Mary doing some sewing. We'll watch them walking around. And then on the back, it has Joseph doing his carpenter work with a plane and a hammer and shavings down at his feet. And we are at Part 1, Story 9, Strangers from the East. How many people saw the wonderful light in the sky when the angels came to Bethlehem to rejoice over the birth of Jesus? Nobody will ever know. But that it was seen hundreds of miles away, there was no doubt. Far to the east of Palestine, probably in Arabia or Persia, a little group of men not only saw the star, but were convinced it had some special meaning. How old they were, the Bible doesn't say, but we know they were wise and learned. Certainly they knew the Hebrew scriptures well, for they came sure that the time had come for the king of Israel to appear. They must have studied the prophecies of Daniel, Moses, Isaiah, and others. They had that the 70 weeks worked out that 70-week prophecy better than the leaders of Israel had done, and had taken literally the promise, there shall be a star out of Jacob. Taken literally the promise, there shall be a star out of Jacob. Okay, sorry about, I have to rewind sometimes because this stuff gets a little hard. When they saw the strange light, they said to themselves, "This must be what we had been expecting." Then they set out to find what it meant. Day after day they journeyed until they came at last to Jerusalem. To their surprise, they found all the people were going about their business as usual. Nobody was talking about the coming new king. "Where is he that is born King of the Jews?" they asked someone. "King of the Jews," replied a man with a puzzled look on his face. "You mean Herod?" "No, the new king. Your king. We saw his star in the east and and are come to worship him." "There's no new king around here," said the man. "But there must be," said the wise men, as they went on to tell why they had come so far. After a while, a few people in Jerusalem began to believe that they must be right. Pretty soon the entire city was talking about these strangers who had traveled hundreds of miles from hundreds of miles to find the new king of the Jews. Presently, the uh, presently the news of the wise men's stories reached Herod, and it sounded like treason. He was worried. Perhaps the Jews were about to rebel again, and this tall tale about a new king was part of the plot. So he called the chief priests and scribes and demanded them to tell him where Christ should be born. "In Bethlehem of Judea," they said, "for this is written by the prophet, and thou Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the prince of Judah. For out of thee give, shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Somehow, from the way the priests and scribes talked, Herod felt sure that they did not believe that any new king had been born. So far as they were concerned, their governor might not appear in Jerusalem, in Bethlehem, for 100 years yet. But he was troubled by the rumor of the wise men from the east that had started. Sorry, things. I'm reading fast and then I'm sounding a robot. Sorry, I do that. Was there anything to it? He would find out. Herod sent for the wise men. They were still in town and came gladly. He treated them graciously and asked them to tell him exactly what they so had told so many others. They did, and Herod listened with great interest. Then he asked, when did you first see the star? And they told him. And how long have you been on your way? They told him that too. And then, of course, it has a painting by Herbert Rudin, and it's got the text in the middle, um, and it's a two-pager. And it's got the Star of Bethlehem up here at the top. This is what it looks like. Oops, sorry. And there it is. And of course, they put the text in it. That could have blew up from the original painting. This is the painting and the text. Okay. We turn the page. They probably hadn't been open these books probably hadn't been open in 40, maybe 50 years. I know at least, well, yeah, 50 I say because my age. Okay. Did you think that this new king is to be born in Bethlehem? Certainly. And you believe he is already born? The prophecies suggest that. Huh. I'll tell you what, said Herod. You go to Bethlehem and find this child. Then send me word, and I will come and worship him also. The wise men thanked the king and left. This was the best thing. This was the best thing that had happened to them since they arrived in Jerusalem. And, okay, Jerusalem and then period. The great King Herod was going to help them in their search. With lighter hearts, they set out for Jerusalem, which is 6 miles away, about as far as here to downtown Memphis. Okay, yeah, that's my suggestion, my thinking. Then they saw something that filled them with exceeding joy. There in the sky above the little town, they saw the star again, and the very one they had seen in the east many weeks ago. I can almost hear them saying to one another, "Look, there it is again." And then, of course, another painting, and this is a two-pager, and The text is blended in this painting, and of course, it's another Herbert Redan. His name is down here at the bottom. Give me a second. It's a big, big painting. It would probably be best to have it in the landscape. This is landscape, and this is a portrait. Uh, that's the art things that I have to remember. But this is the painting. Okay. Of the wise men. Okay. Now they urge their camels forward with new urgency, sure that their search was almost at the end. As they clattered through the gates of the city of David, people looked up and wondered who were these wealthy looking strangers might be. But the taxing had brought so many people to town, both rich and poor, that they took no special notice of them. At last the three wise men came to a house where Joseph and Mary were now staying. As they entered, they saw the young child with with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. What a sight that must have been, as these three wise men, clad in their rich garments, bent low before the baby Jesus. Imagine what Mary might have thought. Couldn't you see her eyes growing wide with amazement as strangers opening their bags and boxes of various kinds and brought out treasures such as she had never seen before. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh were gifts fit for a king, and here they were being poured out before her little boy. I'm thinking she must have had cried in joy and gratitude. Thank you, I can hear her saying. How kind of you to come so far to give us so much. Then they left and vanished into history. Nobody knows what happened to them. Yet that one gracious deed of theirs will live forever. And then it has a picture of all the gifts they brought. And of course, the main ones that are in is the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh, which you can eat. I didn't realize that you could eat frankincense and myrrh without it. Just it's a little sweet. Um, they're a little sweet because I got some. I used to do it a lot. Is taste everything when I was little, and uh, I still kind of do it sometimes. Okay, that was part one, story 9. So it's the break time again. So we're gonna break, and I'll see you in a bit.